Welcome to another episode of the Butterfly Mindset Podcast.
Left late night, what a mess. We woke up and we're still obsessed. Can't keep it straight night and day. We keep it classy, still we stay.
Welcome to another episode of the Butterfly Mindset Podcast. Today I have my good friend Andrea. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I'm so stoked to have you on today. It was funny because when we had coffee last week or the week before? The week before, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
After a random encounter in a coffee shop.
Literally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and as we were talking, it was just more of little things that I was like, okay, we need to share your whole story. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited to dive in because I think I know enough, but I want to really dive in on how you got to where you've gotten. You're a powerhouse in the real estate industry, and you've built your career from years and years of being in the industry. But how did you even get into real estate? I just found out you went to USC.
Yeah. I did.
How did you end up here?
Oh man, I graduated, and after commuting to school there and having an internship in LA too, I was like, okay, what can I do where I don't have to drive to LA anymore? And it was like, ding, I'm going to get my real estate license.
Yeah.
I don't think my parents were that thrilled about that. Hey, you just graduated, I'm going to go get my real estate license.
Yeah.
But got my real estate license, and that was 22 years ago. So started at 23 and have been doing it ever since.
Wait, so what did you go to school to study though?
I have a degree in sociology, so
Okay.
I wanted to go into marriage and family therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm in marriage and family therapy, right?
Basically.
We all are, right?
Yeah, literally.
So I wouldn't say that it's a total wash, but
Yeah.
and like I was telling you earlier, now I love being in a classroom all the time
Yep.
and forever learning. So
Yeah, we were talking about how you had to go to community college and go through community college for how many years you said you were in community?
It was 4. It could have even been 4.5.
Yeah.
Because I was determined to go to this certain school.
Yeah.
Because after I'd been at community for a while and started applying to colleges to transfer, it was the only one that I didn't get into that I wanted to go to. So after that rejection, it made me go back and really ask questions okay, what do I have to do to get in school here? And it was to raise this particular math grade. And so like I said, the professor said, okay, if you come every single day at 7 a.m. for this amount of time, I will give you that grade. Regardless on what you do at your test, if you can show me that you're doing this. So I did it and then got in.
You got into the school.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. So, but why did you want to go to SC so bad? What was the...
I think because it was a local school, right?
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want to go away. I wanted to stay in Long Beach. So it was a school that I could commute to, known for education, known for connections. I knew I was going to be in some sort of people business. So I thought that was my best shot.
Yeah.
And then also that was the one that rejected me. So
yes.
Of course I wanted to
You had
go
to prove
there.
them wrong.
Yes.
Wait, so then you grew up in Long Beach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you're born and raised in Long Beach.
Yes.
Then went to school at SC.
Mm-hmm.
And then was it right after SC you got into real estate, or was it
Yes.
So did
right
you,
after.
Did you get what got you introduced to real estate? How did that happen?
Yeah, it was just one of those things where I was like, okay, how can I start my own business with little capital, right? Something that I could make money in, and something that I could literally just do with myself.
Yeah.
Right. And so I got my real estate license. I remember I went into in-person training classes.
Yeah.
And met some wonderful people that I'm still in business with today.
Wow.
Some agents that I started with are still in the business, and we still see each other weekly.
Wow,
in
that's
the
amazing.
business, which is rad.
Wait,
Yeah.
so when you got into the industry, what did the industry look like comparatively to today?
So different. I mean, carbon copy contracts.
Yeah.
So literally on the car, filling them out. I have terrible handwriting too, so it's they were barely even legible. rip one copy off for each client,
Wow.
you know, and keep the original for yourself. Like nothing
MLS
on the
was-
phone. It was, you know, we had computer MLS,
Okay.
obviously,
Yeah.
but it was like Lightning was the software to enter your listings in, and it literally looked like the old Mac, like the green screen.
Yeah.
And it was a trip. And I felt like at that time, being 23, I was like the young kid. I feel like now a lot of real estate opportunities have opened up for younger people.
Yeah.
And it's such a more diverse community. And but it didn't feel like that back then. I felt like I was just like the new kid on the block, and a lot of people saying, oh, you know, this business is really hard. Are you sure you want to do this? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not all glamorous. Are you sure you want to do this? And so I had a lot of that. But I think pretty early on, I knew it was where I was supposed to be,
Yeah.
even though I feel like quitting still all the time.
Yeah. Every day.
I do. Seriously, it's
Yeah.
like, you know, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I, you know, even though you know that you're supposed to be doing it, it's like
Yep.
you still always are like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's like, for me, it's like the impact, what drives me. I was actually talking to somebody the other day about it. They were like, do you like what do you like most about what you do? And I'm like, literally the impact that I have on the others, like being able to help people get into the industry, like build their careers. And then also on the other side, like help people accomplish their like real estate goals is just, it's crazy to me. Like,
It's amazing.
speaking of butterflies, right? Like this butterfly effect that we have on like just everyone around us is really
Yes,
cool. Like
yes.
that's what, when I want to quit, that's what I think about, is I'm like, but if I do like think about how much impact I'm going to have on this person's life, you know, like
100%. And I think of like all the opportunities that I've gotten or fought for, you know,
Yeah.
that like to be able to give other people opportunities
yep.
through everything from like getting their offer accepted to like you said, career development, when you meet that new agent who is like, okay, how do I become successful
Yeah.
in this realm? And then like to be able to give them that one little piece of advice, which is usually just don't quit.
Yeah.
Like that's like how to be successful.
outlast.
You just don't quit,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Like you're going to succeed. Like the people who don't are the ones that quit. So
Yeah, it's so true. It's I always talk about that. Like when I was as an athlete, like I was just the one. Like I was never the best player. I was the one that worked the hardest and then just stayed in it long enough.
absolutely.
Like, and that's how I ended up doing what I did as an athlete. And it's the same thing in real estate. Like it's like over time, like what happens is we have so much turnover in the industry. So like if you just stay in the industry long enough, you'll win. Like,
Absolutely.
but you got to find a way to stay in the industry.
And I think that's like everything in life, right? Relationships, parenting. It's like you just go through the hard and you do the best you can and you don't quit.
Oh, 100%.
And it's like that's success
Yes.
on the other side.
It's so true. It's so true. I actually haven't even thought about it that way, but it's 100%
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's life. Just keep going.
You just keep going.
So you, okay, I have so much like that I want to dissect throughout the timeline here. So you get into real estate, it's carbon copy, like eventually DocuSign starts becoming prevalent. Like what did that look like for you in the industry? And then what did that look like? What did that look like for you? And then what did it look like for the industry as a whole at that time?
So I think my big career kind of pivot path came during, I had just gotten married. So like after 2007, when the market shifted and we went through like short sales and
Yeah.
foreclosures and all of that. And I didn't quit. And I went out and learned how to do short sales and negotiate and work with banks and get people, you know, the half of money or whatever we had to do at that time.
Yeah.
That's also when I met, well, not when I met, but when I started partnering with Sheila. And I think that was like the pivotal where I saw things change. We still had to fax in like the packages and whatnot.
Yeah.
But over time, things became more systematized, like even with the banks or with real estate, and we got additional forms and things started to go more electronic. And we still needed wet signatures at that time for short sales,
Yeah.
foreclosures. But then, yeah, DocuSign came out and Apple phone came out because originally it was like a BlackBerry.
Oh yeah.
And then just so those changes like just simplified and made us more mobile.
Yep.
Which is like perfect timing because I was like about to, you know, a few years after that, like become a parent and, you know, then your life drastically changes again and always learning. But I would say like it made more mobile, the experience with that different market, all sorts of things. And even before then, I had some really quick success early on in my career and then kind of came to like a halt.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't coming as easy and I actually had to become someone's real estate assistant to get through that storm. I would say like, you know, 2005, 2006 era. And then the short sales and foreclosures came out and I really just like took the bull by the horns and really learned that part of the industry and then was able to be successful through that market shift.
That's so, I always say like I don't think I could do real estate if like DocuSign didn't exist.
You could.
Like
you could.
But it's like it's crazy because like the fact that like wet signatures, like you had to be in person, you had to like there's times when I'm, you know,
I mean, I kind of missed that part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first was representing buyers, you'd go present your buyer's offer to the seller and the listing agent in person.
Wow.
And there'd be like 3 of us like waiting in the living room to get to the kitchen table to like present to somebody. And I loved that part of it because like
it's like you're pitching basically.
Yeah, that's what we're so good at is like the negotiating for our clients. So it's like all I had to do convince this client that like convince the seller that like my client was the best for this house and I was the best agent to get the job done.
Yeah.
And like
what a
that was
different
amazing.
world.
Like instead of just sending an email with like even if it has a great cover letter, like to be able to present
and like sit down
on
with,
behalf of your clients.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
miss
sweet.
That. Yeah.
I would enjoy that.
Yes.
That would be great.
Yes. So we got to bring that back.
Yeah. I don't know how that would. I feel like no one would want that.
No, and there
Most
would
people,
probably be like arm wrestling and fist fights and all the other stuff now, right?
Well, it's because it's like it's funny because like you have the agents that like you'll send in something and like you try to call them, they don't answer, they just text back because they know they're not strong negotiators. So it's like here's a text. And I'm like, if I could just talk to you. Like, let's just have a conversation here. We can put a deal together.
Yes.
That's interesting. So then, like, did you see a big, when all of this tech came out? And it's interesting because we had the conversation before too. Like, I think we're at this time in like real estate again where like this tech is going to come into play, where there's going to be a huge shift in the industry with AI.
Yes.
And I think it's like, it reminds me of like, as you know, I wasn't in the industry at the time, but like, it reminds me of like, you know, when MLS went online, then when DocuSign became prevalent, like it makes you as an agent at the time way more efficient.
Absolutely.
Right. So like, did you see a lot of fallout of agents at that time when DocuSign came out? Like when all of that stuff?
I would say like whenever there's a shift, especially during the short sale.
Yeah.
And, you know,
for sure.
All of that, a certain amount of people leave the business. But I mean, you look statistically on how many people leave this business and how many people quit before they even get started.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's almost like this natural progression, right?
Yep.
And I think that sometimes people are just scared of technology instead of excited of like how it can make their lives easier.
Yep.
And how it can enhance the experience.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like that switch in mindset of like, okay, I'm going to embrace this because it's going to be better for me and my clients in the long run.
Yep.
Or, you know,
you're going to try to fight it.
Yeah, exactly. Which you can't.
Yeah, literally,
like,
you cannot.
You know, I think I was like dragging my feet with my AOL email until very recently. But, you know, I think it's like, at the end of the day, like we know that the world is constantly changing, right? And it's cool.
Yeah.
Like
it's super exciting, right? Like it's super, super exciting. I mean, I believe that like the agents that do take advantage of new tech as it comes, like are the ones that win long term.
Yes.
Because like you said, you can't stop it. It's not going to stop. So if it's not going to stop, you're either going to be late to start it or left out.
Yes. And it's like you want to now even be like at the forefront of some of the technology of like, okay, how do I get in that room when they're developing it?
Yep.
Or how do I be one of the test people?
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, so now I'm even more forward thinking, which I know you are really forward thinking
that's like
in that. That's your thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think that's super cool, right? It's
Yeah.
like being back in the classroom.
Oh, 100%. And also like being part of, I think it's interesting to be in those rooms because you're literally changing the industry, which essentially changes life, how we live, like, which is insane when you think about like how big that gets.
Yes.
Because, you know, a person's day-to-day transactionally as an agent will completely change. A person's day-to-day as buying a home or selling a home will completely change. And like, that's pretty crazy. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I mean, I always think about like it from the customer experience and like, what do I enjoy in my day-to-day conveniences? And as much as I love like Instacart and you know, all that stuff being delivered to the home, like I still want to go out to eat and have that experience.
Yeah.
And so I just think of like in the real estate world, people will still want to transact with you and they'll still want to call and have that conversation with you. But like what other tools and tech can you bring in to make the just experience more enjoyable and more referable, right?
100%.
Yes.
I mean, like, how can you make it more personable for the client? Like, it's like it's funny because this conversation came up last week a lot. This talk track of like how this is going to go, and like my whole thought process, like probably a year, 2 years from now, every person is going to have some sort of AI assistant. Like you will have some sort of listening device that will help you with AI, like just daily life.
I mean, I feel like we already do, like built into our iPhone, right? It's like, or even just scrolling on Instagram, like, oh, wow, they heard this conversation and now they're marketing me this. And yes, I actually do need it, you know?
It's that thought process, right? Like, but like now, like as this develops, like, you know, there's two ways to look at it. And there's one way of like, oh, it's going to make it so that there's, you know, makes it less personable. But like, what if like when I'm having a conversation with you, I can actually be truly engaged instead of thinking, oh shoot, let me make sure I write this down as a note. Let me make sure I put a task down, yada, yada. I can truly be engaged, truly listen to you, have a real conversation. And then afterwards I can look at my notes and see my tasks after. Like, it's going to make it, the people that utilize it the right way it's going to be pretty impressive.
Well, because sometimes we lose all the little details and that's the important part, right, are the details. And so if you don't have to always remember like when Johnny's birthday is or when the kid got accepted into this or, you know, a big life milestone moments and you can still be engaged in those.
It'll be pretty cool.
In those times, that's amazing.
Yeah, it'll be pretty cool. So short sales.
Yes.
So you get into short sales, you started working with Sheila. What was then short sale market, you know, kind of goes through, you do very well. What happened next?
I think our next natural progression was, okay, we really like working together.
Yeah.
And it's working and our clients are happy and we're able to bring two very different personalities with a similar work ethic together to create like this magical business where we're leveraged through each other and then we could hire, you know, with each other, bringing each other's strengths to build this team, right?
Yeah.
And so started building our real estate team and it was pretty amazing, like amazing client events, all the little things like the buyer and seller materials, the gifts that we were giving our clients, like, so just the experience was great. And unfortunately it was like during COVID, she passed unexpectedly. Yeah. And so everything that we had been building and working so hard for just like, bam, looked different. Right.
Yeah.
And And not only that, because it's like, I lose my business partner, but also like my really, really, really good and dear and true friend.
Yeah.
And the person who I'd have all the hard conversations with, like, hey, this is going on, or, having a hard time with this contract, or having a hard time with this, like, let's talk it out. So it's like you kind of lose your person.
Yep.
And so after that, it was kind of like, I still was kind of going through and doing all the things we set out to do, but just felt differently. It still feels differently, right? Like, it's still like, I'm like, damn, I miss those days when we like had it all figured out and we were just executing our plan, right?
Yeah.
And now, which kind of leads me to where I am now, everything is so different.
Yeah.
And I definitely have her to thank. I feel like some angels were chatting and some stars aligned and some opportunities came into my life that I've gotten to take advantage of. But yeah, it's I'm not where I thought that I would be, but I am where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. I love that.
So
How did you deal with like it's very interesting because I know, because I have a business partner that I've built my company with. Actually, I prefer building a company with somebody else versus
Absolutely.
individually. Like, I just think it's way more fun.
yes.
How did you deal with that? As like, I mean, you're probably going through not only like a business crisis of like, how do I solve this side, but also like kind of an identity crisis.
Oh, 100%.
Like, how did you deal with all of that?
Oh, I think I'm still dealing with it.
Yeah.
I think the main thing I wanted to do is not let go of like everything she had built or all the hard work. So it was still like reaching out to her clients and making sure people knew that they were supported.
Yeah.
And in the early stages, like helping her family transit, whatever that looked like,
Yeah.
But for me, it was just like, the tremendous loss of like not having your friend, like even aside from the business, right? So yeah, definitely an identity crisis of like, okay, well, we were building this team and it was so fun to do together, but maybe not necessarily the thing I'd want to do on my own.
Yeah. It's like you kind of lose motivation to do that.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Yeah. And just had wonderful people along the way, like Angie, who I'm still really close with. She was just like, whatever you need, like, let's do it. And so, but at the same time, it was just like, I had to reevaluate, like, now what do I really want?
Yep.
And also, like, how can I use my skill set to help more people?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what landed me where I am today.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, you go through, I mean, any loss in life, right? Like, you go through this thing, and I think it's just, we're so, especially like when it comes to business, it's this, like, you're doing something that's really cool, is like you had told me the other day where you're giving like a, transactionally when you're closing deals that are through.
Yes, like anything that comes through her, I am able to keep that to give back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is really, really
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Because like now, like you're still doing what's right for her, which is amazing.
And
like,
I think like the whole legacy of it,
Yeah.
like, basically on marketing materials that go to like her database, it's like in loving memory of Sheila Karen and like all these things.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
it's super special.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not only special because like, you're doing it, but it's special because it's like, it's also probably her family probably sees it too. Like people that like people that cared about, like we're like that's a super big example, I think, because sometimes in business it's just like, oh, there, next, call it a day.
Yes.
Right. And it truly is a testament to who you are. So I'm like, I love that. And so you go through that, you're like, okay, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. and now, and then you came into the role that you're leading one of the number one office in Long Beach, right? If I asked you 5 years ago, would you be doing that? You'd probably be like,
Oh,
no
gosh,
chance.
No. If you asked me 3 years ago, if you probably asked me like 2 weeks before I accepted the position, it would have been like, oh no, that is not anything
Yeah.
that I've ever wanted to do or seen myself do. But I also think that like when you are on a path and it changes, right? It's like technology or anything, loss.
Yeah.
You could fight it and say like, no, I am supposed to go this way, or you can just like dig a little deeper and take a different chance and maybe end up somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's what happened. I wasn't expecting it, but just by saying like yes and taking a chance, it's led to a lot of different opportunities, right? Yeah. And so now like I have a mission to like give other people opportunities and create opportunities and pick who you want to be in business with and like find like-minded people and really connect with them. And because yeah, I feel like, you know, like in the real estate business and especially like the brokerage business, they're not just like handing out opportunities.
Yeah, no.
A lot of times it's like either generational or it's a group of owners that were formed 30 years ago who aren't changing in their ways.
Yeah.
Or they want to bring somebody in to have them like fulfill a certain position, but it's like they don't care about like the equity stake in it. So I think that was really important to me, is to like find out what people really want and then to help them achieve that path.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
You guys have had, I mean, that office has been like this over the years.
Yes.
And you're totally on like a trajectory like this, which is really cool to see because I know where it's coming from, right? Like, but like a lot of people don't see that, right?
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in like, I mean, we know it throughout every company, right? Like good leadership builds great companies.
Well, and it's like all about like the people.
Yep.
The people who are there, right? Like
Yeah.
that's why I get up every day and actually go into the office every day, and I'm there like working hard to serve them, because it's all about the people.
Which is what brokerage should be.
Yes.
Like this is like my whole thing is like, that's where brokerage should be, where like for a while I feel like, I mean, there's a lot of companies that go to like, how does the agent serve me? Where like really brokerage should be, how can we serve our agents?
Absolutely.
And like help build them to build careers, which is part of like your purpose now.
Yes.
Right? And like,
Yes.
that's why I think it's continuing, and people see that, people are attracted to that, and that's why it'll grow more and more, which is pretty cool.
Well, that's like the education, and then like getting people what they really want. Because, you know, like every single agent is different, just like every single client, house, transact, everything is different.
Yeah.
Right? And everybody wants different things. And I think we tend to put people in a box of like, this is how your career should look, and this is how many houses you should sell, and this is how many buyers you should work with. But it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah.
And people are going through life circumstances, and there's some people who are taking care of little kids and some people who are taking care of older parents, and their lives don't look like maybe, you know, the 23-year-old agent coming into the business with nothing to lose. People have all sorts of life circumstances that like, you know, motivate them to be where they're at in their career. And it's not a one size fits all. So you really have to say like, okay, what are your goals now, 3-year, 5-year, 10-year, 20-year? And then what are the, like you said, little steps to get there every day that you can do every single day consistently to get there.
Yeah, I love that. How do you take like an agent, for instance, that's like sitting there and says they're dealing with something? The interesting thing is, and I'm going to come back to that question, but I just had the interesting thing is you've had such a long career already, and like you've been through so many different markets. So it's like I always, whenever I speak, you know, and when I was an athlete, when I was a soccer player, I always wanted someone that had been there already and done what I want to do as a coach, because I'm like, I want someone that has experience actually doing it versus theory, right? And so I think you have that experience through life, which is so important. How do you take like somebody that's going through, for instance, you know, has older parents, has to take care of them, have to do that, like, and they want to get into real estate, they want to be successful, but they have to do this as well. Like, how do you get them to be successful in this industry?
You tell them they're not alone. Like, we've all had different life things that we've gone through. I think of when my kids were little, and I had a daughter in multiple therapies, right? ABA therapy, speech therapy. And then I had this new baby that I was like carting along for the ride and like feeding and managing everything and selling real estate and building this real estate team. And I first tell them, give yourself some grace, right? And then what are the things that you can do in like parallel with your life, how it's going right now? And I think of like when you have little kids, like, okay, I'm in a parking lot or I'm at a park. There's other parents there with little kids. Like, am I going to talk to them? Is this my client who I'm going to sell a house to?
Yeah.
Right? While I'm hanging out with my kids and doing the things. And same thing, like, are you taking your older parent to a doctor's appointment?
Yeah.
Who can you speak to, like, when you're sitting in a lobby, you know, that's going to be someone you can have in your database, someone that you can help, someone that's probably going through a similar life situation that you.
100%.
So, like, what are the things you're doing in your daily life that can help you, like, grow as an agent, grow your business organically?
I love that.
Because, like, you might not be able to go into the office every day if you're carting someone to doctor's appointments, but can you make calls? Can you connect with somebody in a lobby? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, you may not be able to door knock 200 doors a day.
No.
But could you have conversations where you are?
Yes.
I love that.
And like how like real and authentic, and you're going through something similar. Like I think of like, you know, being a parent and meeting parents with young kids where they're at, especially in real estate. Like, oh, you got to bring the kids. Like, come on, let's all carry your car seat. You know, I've done that so many different times. Or let me hold your stroller while you walk in and look at the house and then come out. And you got to meet people where they're at. And that's like the one human experience that maybe AI won't
100%
take over. And so you really need to have those connections. So I always just tell people, it's like, it goes back to the don't quit.
Yeah.
But also, you need to work to fund your life, and your life might even be more expensive because of the situation you're in right now, right? So what can you do with what you have?
On a daily basis.
Yeah, with your time, with your energy.
Like consistently.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that. Okay, I have 2 more questions for you.
Yes.
First question is, where can people find you, connect with you?
You can, I would love to say like, oh, you can find me on Instagram, but if you look at my social media, it's like, I mean, maybe once a month I'm posting, but you can DM me. I will check my DMs. You can call me on my phone. You can text me.
Don't give your
like
phone
all
number
the
on
things.
this. You'll get too many calls. Just do Instagram. What's your Instagram?
It's Bigler Group. And
how do you spell it?
Bigler, like Bigler, and Group.
Awesome.
So that's where you can find me.
Yeah. Phone number might be a little too much.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of messages would I be getting?
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my next question is someone's getting in an industry right now, knowing that most people are predicting 20 to 30, 40% of agents are going to fall out of the industry in a couple years. Like, what piece of advice would you give them as they're getting in the industry right now?
I mean, I always want to ask, like, why are you getting into the industry? Like, what about this career is speaking to you, right? And then it's like, it's that don't quit mentality. Like, can you not quit? Like, all these things are going to get thrown at you and it's hard. Like, so are you going to be able to last, right? And then also it goes back to like, you know, the why. Like, why are you doing this? Like, I'm super clear on my why for everything I do. It's to have amazing experiences with those that I love.
I love that.
So like for me, I don't ever want to say no to my kids, my husband, my friends, my family, like, oh no, sorry, I can't come to that because I don't have the money right now, or I don't have the time right now.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be in that position. And so I would say, what is that person's motivation to be in this career? And then maybe give them a little test about like how to have a hard conversation, right? Because like that's what our business is: problem solving, having really hard conversations,
Yep.
having really joyful moments and
Yeah.
celebratory conversations as well. But like, how do you deal with hard? And if you can help them deal with hard, like quick, fast, right away, and they can navigate that, then it's like,
Boom.
yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
I appreciate you so much for being on
I
today.
appreciate you.
Thank you for making your
I'm
way
glad
down
we
here.
connected.
Literally love it.
And I feel like there's many more connections in our future. So
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.